bird on a tree. I'm just sitting here. I got time, it's clear to see.
It's cold. So we got a few things while we're waiting on some other things. One of them is a wiper blade. Now, let's see how this works. Same thing. Okay, it locked on. Little thing's got to be pointing down. Alright, funny little story on this. This is actually a true story. A boat I looked at before this one was in excellent shape. It's kept inside of a shed. Really nice boat. The one I almost bought. When I was looking, I saw just this sticking up and I was like, wait a minute. I asked the guy, I'm like, well, what is that? He goes, oh, that's the windshield wiper. The guy owned it before me was trying to find a replacement and couldn't, so he just ripped the whole thing off. Like, how stupid is that? He just, like, ripped the whole thing off and threw it away. All I did, this old wiper says AMCO 40. I typed that in, Advanced Auto Parts, had this one. It's basically a 13-inch wiper. I think it was close to 20 bucks by the time I had it shipped here. You could probably go pick one up somewhere, but yeah, I don't know why you would tear the whole arm and everything off because you can't find a wiper. But yeah, it was, like I said, super easy. It's ANCO 40. I typed that in, and Advanced was one that popped right up, and it's a this exact fit. As you can see, fits on there just perfect. But yeah, why you would tear the, I don't know. This is important stuff right here. So why were these important? Well, what's a pirate without his cutlass? Now, we got a nice space right by the door. Yeah, that's where we gotta go again. Ish. Never wanted to come down here again. Yeah. What we got to do, when we got our fan in here, we got to connect these two wires. Oh, the fun. Not funny. Son of a, what the hell was that? Oh, dang it. somehow. That was great. I got the wire wrapped around me and yanked it. Yanked it off. So I could do that all over again. I gotta go get another end. Start all over. Ah. What I'm doing is running this wire over to this other fan that works from the switch on the dash. So when I click that fan on, that fan comes on as well. As if you really want to flip those for a minute before you start your motor to get all the fumes up out of there. What I got is this little splitter. I gotta put this on the yellow wire. With any luck now, when I put this fan on, that should come on as well. That's bad. What's bad is that was funny. So I flipped the switch and I could hear something running, but the fan wasn't turning. I was like, man, that fan has always worked. What's going on? I thought maybe I cut the wire when I put the spreader on there. Whew. It was Bill's pump. I was smart. But as you can hear, that fan probably not gonna last too much longer. I don't know. But it does work. This fan is sucking air in, and that fan is sucking air out. So that works. So now I gotta put the cover back on it. Okay. So what we're working on at the moment, I want to be able to put stuff over here and not have it slide off over here. It's something I wanted to do since the beginning. So I'm gonna put this, oops, right here. So that's what we're working on now. So first thing we need to do is clean up that little spot. So hard to work in there. Whew. So, I keep my seat down. So to get this ready, what I did was, this is just a piece of oak that I cut from one of my fallen trees. I went ahead and cut it and varnished it, and I drilled these holes, and I drilled them a little bit bigger, and I countersunk them. But you don't want this tight, because when you try to screw it in, what's going to happen is it's just going to push up instead of going in. So you want this to go all the way down and free spin. See, once it's all the way down, it needs to be able to free spin. Otherwise, instead of screwing in, it's just going to set on the top like that. So because of that area, what I'm going to do is, I've got the bit that's slightly smaller than these stainless screws, so we can pull these back out. I'm going to set this down there, drill through, and then pour epoxy in the hole, and then put the screws in. When you're dealing with an area like that, it's good to seal any holes that you drill, because if water gets in there, it's just going to rot. There's 3 holes in there now. I'm going to fill while I'm down there. But yeah, so we're just going to lay it in there, drill them out, pour some epoxy down that hole. Then we'll spread a little bit on it and then screw it down tight. And then I'll fill the other holes while I'm down there. I also didn't make this go all the way across. There's gaps on both sides. That's in case any water does get behind it. It'll end up running out. But we want stuff to not slide, especially like a toolbox or a water can or something. I had a piece of hose just laying in there and it slid down, and while I was starting the motors, it actually sat on the edge of the motor and kind of burnt the end of the hose. It's a perfect example of what I don't want to happen. So you see, this is a very difficult space to work. I gotta make sure. Yeah, I said I'm gonna pour epoxy in those. We'll pour epoxy in these holes and then screw that in. For our epoxy, we got cold epoxy, which means it's really thick. There's 2 pumps. We got 207. Got 2 pumps of that. I say this is cold, so we're gonna have to mix this really, really well. I have to go down there and get it, but after we pour this, we're gonna put in a little Cavasil. Kind of help bond that a little bit. Just adding some Cavasil in here to thicken this up so it doesn't just run through. What I'm going to do is put these back through. You can see there's 2 long ones on the end and a little bit shorter. We want those to stick through just a hair so we can get it in the hole. Let's see if we can do this. As you can see, this splurged out here, so that's good. We'll go along that edge and clean that up. But it's on there. We'll let that dry, and that way it keeps it from, as if you got something sitting there, it can't just slide off onto that edge. Just a quick little stupid thing, but it's done.